Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Chef T, and on today's episode, we'll be making a romantic 3-course dinner made with aphrodisiacs. It is a very easy meal to prepare and will thoroughly impress your date. And for our first course, I will be showing you how to shuck oysters and how to make a tasty watermelon mignonette. Our second course, asparagus with a purple sweet potato puree and a beautiful dry-aged ribeye steak. And for the third course, we'll be making chocolate-covered strawberries, everybody's favorite. Very simple, very sexy. Let's get it started. We have this beautiful dry-aged ribeye steak that I have gotten from a local butcher here in Chicago called Publican Quality Meats. We're going to season, sous vide, and sear this baby. If you do not have a sous vide machine, that's perfectly fine. You can season it and sear it to your preferred temperature. We are going to season with salt and pepper. Make sure you get the whole piece of meat thoroughly seasoned, not just the top and the bottom, but also the sides. So now that we have everything nice and seasoned, we are going to get it in the sous vide bag. But first, I like to crush a couple cloves of garlic and throw some sprigs of thyme in there with it as well. Now that we have this seasoned, we're gonna get this vacuumed up and into our water bath. Now that we got our steak in our sous vide bag, we're going to cook it at 129 for 2 hours. And now for our purple sweet potato puree, we are going to cook our sweet potato for 45 minutes at 425. Season it with a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. Okay, for our dessert course, we have a dozen strawberries, 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, 1 cup of white chocolate, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil for that. We are going to be melting this in a double boiler. Okay, double boiler setup. Pot of rapid boiling water with a tempered glass bowl on the top of it, where the steam heats and melts the chocolate. You can use a metal bowl if you don't have a tempered glass one. This should only take a few minutes. You want to keep stirring with a spatula until the chocolate is completely melted, looking nice and smooth, like one of those fancy chocolate fountains that you see. Now we're going to repeat the same process with the white chocolate. Now that we have our chocolate melted, we're going to start dipping our strawberries. So the chocolate and the strawberries are both aphrodisiacs. The chocolate stimulates desire and boosts arousal, and the strawberries increase vitality and blood flow. And the same with the white chocolate. Just get a nice, even coating. And with the remaining chocolate, we'll put in a plastic baggie for a little extra drizzle over them. And we're just gonna cut a little hole in the corner of these bags. So we're gonna let these sit at room temperature for an hour. Some people say to put them in the fridge. I don't like to do that because it causes condensation between the chocolate and the strawberry, and your chocolate will not stick to your strawberry. Now that we have had our sweet potato cooking for about 45 minutes at 425, we're gonna start with the puree. So the skin should peel off nicely. Have this beautiful purple color. Hot. You can use any kind of sweet potato if you want. These purple ones are just in season right now, so I figured I'd use them for a nice little pop of color. So now that we got the peel off, throw it in this container and puree it. Gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper, butter, and some heavy cream. And we're gonna get it all blended up, just hand blend it. Sweet potato is also an aphrodisiac. It boosts fertility, energy, and promotes healthy blood pressure. Okay, for our next vegetable, it is asparagus. I personally like to peel the asparagus because it's less fibrous. You don't really get any of the stringiness from the asparagus. So we're gonna peel these, cut these, blanch them for about 30 seconds, then shock them in ice water. And we're gonna cut these at a bias just to make them look a little pretty. And we're gonna cook the asparagus for about 30 seconds in some salted boiling water. Not only are asparagus tasty, but they increase production of reproductive hormones and histamines. We'll get them in a nice ice bath to stop them from cooking. These little guys only need to stay in the ice bath until they're completely cooled all the way through. We're going to add some toasted almonds to the asparagus when plating. So I toasted these in a pan for about 5 minutes. Almonds also increase testosterone. So next, for our watermelon mignonette, we have 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, a half a cup of watermelon juice, a half a shallot, and some ground black pepper. We're gonna mix all these together and mince the shallot. Add this to our vinegar and watermelon juice. Watermelon also relaxes blood vessels and increases libido. And a pinch of pepper. Give it a little mix. And that's it. Our next course is our oysters. Don't be afraid to shuck these things. They're pretty easy to shuck. Just have to take your time and be careful. You need a nice towel, and then you're gonna hold it over, and you'll find the oyster groove with your knife, and you just twist it, and then when you get in there, scrape the top. I chose some Blue Point East Coast oysters because they're relatively easier to shuck. Okay, now time to plate our oysters. We have rock salt on the bottom of our plate. You can use crushed ice if you have fancy crushed ice, but I don't. So I got some nice coarse rock salt. So we'll just place these guys on here. A lemon wedge. And I have some edible flowers and garnish just to make everything look pretty. Okay, now that we have cooked our ribeye for 2 hours, we're going to pull it out of the bag and pat it dry and sear it in our cast iron skillet. Okay, now that we got our ribeye patted dry, we're gonna add it to a smoking hot cast iron skillet. So I'll cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side if you sous vide it. If you didn't sous vide your steak, I would double the time on each side. But this way with the sous vide, you have a nice, perfectly cooked steak. All right. A beautiful crust on there. Okay, now that we have our steak seared on the other side, we're going to turn off our heat, add the garlic and herbs. And some butter. Get a nice base going. And we're going to add our asparagus and a little bit of lemon juice. All right, now that we got our steak all nice and seared, we're going to let it rest for about 10 minutes. So we're going to get this perfectly cooked, medium rare steak all sliced up. Put that beautiful puree on the bottom of the plate. Put our steak on top of that. Add our asparagus and finish with almonds. Yum. And there you have it, a beautiful romantic 3-course aphrodisiac dinner. If y'all liked the video, please comment and subscribe. Now it's time for me to throw on some lovage and get ready before my date's here. Until next time, cheers.